Scared the black out of my
All right, but no, we've been vamping for too long. I'm gonna kick it over to just Johnny over there, break his concentration.
Oh yeah.
That's my Jules.
We can hear you crystal clear, Johnny.
Where am I? How did I get here?
This guy. Nah, Johnny has the inside stuff on Mercenary Kings. I know it's a game from 2014, but they just came out with the Nintendo Switch.
And the, well, across the board, the Reloaded Edition.
Yeah, but don't nobody care about that, man. People want that Switch.
Yeah, just came out on the Switch. So this is a game that came out a couple years ago, but then they sort of revamped it, added a bunch of extra characters, extra items, and gear, and brought it over to the Switch. And with that comes a couple of additional modes. So this is Mercenary Kings. If you've played any of the SNK style, yes. I believe it's SNK. The what's it called? What's it called?
Oh man, like Fatal Fury, like King of Fighters and all that.
No. It's like Metal Slug. Is that SNK?
Yes, SNK.
Okay, all right, good. So it's basically a blatant ripoff of that Metal Slug, but they do it in all the good ways where it's like these very highly animated sprite assets that look really good, and they're animated and they're very lively in a very semi-cartoonish kind of way, but there's also like an over-the-top violence to everything.
And it's very accurate to the military, right?
Yes, and it's very militaristic, and everything goes. You're going through boot camp, and everything is.
You play this, bro.
You have an entire set of officers that are leading you and making sure you have your buddies with you. No, it's nothing like that. It's like Rambo.
No, you left out the best part though.
You didn't have me going. I'm like, man, they took him through all that.
No, he left out the best part. I think it was maybe number 4 where there's you die like you always die, but in this one, it's like everything's spooky, so you can die, and then you're still a trooper, but you're like a zombie trooper now. So you're walking through like your special grenade attack is you just vomit blood everywhere.
Yeah. So unlike those games, this one focuses more on the multiplayer. So it has local multiplayer where you and your fellow members sort of. Your friends or what have you, they're all teaming together, but they're not on the same screen, so it splits up the screen. So it's like a side-scroll shooter, and if you're playing local multiplayer, the screen is split, kind of like what you get on the N64 first-person shooter or Mario Kart kind of thing.
It'd be like GoldenEye.
Like GoldenEye, yeah. They split up the screen 4-way, but this is all co-op. It's not So what happens is you have this sort of central hub where you have a couple of NPCs that you could talk to in order to do things like change your weapon and gear it up and sort of augment certain aspects of it. So you can give it a different type of magazine or a different type of gun barrel, different type of ammunition. So you're like heavily customizing your weapon and your knife. Those are like the two big things.
Make racist comments about foreigners.
What's that?
Can you talk to each other too, so you can make racist comments about foreigners?
If it's local, yes,
okay,
I hope so.
That's what I found most game pubs
so sad.
But
so
the good news is that on the Switch, there's no really good solution for voice chat, so you can kind of skip all that altogether. It does have online multiplayer, so.
Okay.
Oh wait, so we're playing a game, and Brandy calls me the N-word, but ironically, she's right there in the room, and she does, so I can lean over like, wow.
Yeah, you can do that if it's the local one.
I'm playing the game already.
Yeah, so if it's the local version, you can do that. If it's online, you wouldn't be able to talk to each other anyway. There's a button that they have mapped for each of the players where you hit the button, and then there's sort of like a loadout of different things you can say. So you can select from like, come at me, bro, or whatever. Like one of the quips, and then you can quickly press it.
Why
and
do you say that like an old man? This is your generation.
Come
like,
at me,
you know, like the young kids say, come at me, bro.
I've never said that.
You are 107.
You should have tapped into your inner, what's his name, DJ Mikey D or whatever the guy from Jersey Shore was his name.
You want to tap into your.
Pauly D?
We're gonna gel your hair. You want to show them abs real quick.
And when you say come at me, girl, you're gonna say it with gusto like he would.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Let's just.
I have no clue what you're talking about. I'll try some.
All right, wait.
Come at me, bro.
No, that was weak.
Wait, so was all
But don't do it again. Don't do it.
So was all that original game stuff, or is this what's new in the remaster?
So in the remaster, there's I believe 2 new characters that you could play as. I don't know which ones they are. There's 4 playable
Poochie
characters.
and Cousin Oliver.
Well, there's 4 playable characters. There's 2 ladies, a robot, and I guess the Rambo dude. He's like the older, more seasoned veteran guy.
Like the Duke Nukem of the bunch.
But whoever it is that you play as,
Sergeant Decoy.
Yeah. Well, whoever it is that you play as, they sort of the very first mission. It's sort of in a cutscene. They die from the evil villain Cobra-like villain boss. They die, and then you get sort of re-amputated back with bionic capabilities. So you're essentially a super soldier.
You're like Jax from Mortal Kombat, you know,
yeah,
you got like metal arms.
Yeah, and that kind of helps explain why this isn't a one-bullet kill, kind of like Contra or Metal Slug or anything like that. You do have an HP bar. You're customizing yourself and your capabilities. There's these things called, I think they're called biomods or bionic modules or something like that, where you can equip those things to give yourself added capabilities, like improving drop rates or weird stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like Gunstar Heroes, where it's like I get this type of ammo and this type of ammo, and I can blend them, and that's the drop you're talking about.
Well, you could kind of do that in your loadout as you're customizing your weapon. You can customize it in a way where you give like a shotgun incendiary ammo or electrical bullets or something like that. You can do that, but it takes a long time to get to that point because when you're starting from scratch. You don't have much available to you, as well as the recipes that you have to collect as you're completing missions. These recipes unlock the higher level gear, the different variations in the gear that you're getting, in order for you to customize your weapons and things like that according to whatever playstyle you want to do. They also have a active reload system, kind of like what you get in Gears of War, where if you hit the button to reload your gun, but there's sort of like a meter that plays through, and if you hit it again at the right time at the sweet spot, your bullets become enhanced for that clip that you have installed. So it has that going for it, which is very interesting and helps sort of factor into the customization of your weapon itself. If you're
like
going
a
with
game, like how big or small that sweet spot?
It varies depending on how you equip the weapon itself, what type of weapon you're using. If you have like this really big ammo clip so that you don't run out of bullets very often, well, your reload animation bar is going to be seconds longer than something that has a very short clip like a shotgun where it's just 2 bullets and that's it. So that plays into it. There's a whole slew of like problems in this game, and all of these problems are kind of stemming from the creators playing too much homage to the original material, and because of that, they're sacrificing a whole lot of just controls for the player, like freedom of control. You can't shoot diagonal, which is like
could you in the original?
You could do that in Contra on the NES.
Well, hold on a second now. This is, I understand it, not a this isn't a damn, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like a game like that pays tribute to the old style of gameplay. This is a direct remake of the game, correct? Because the only games I know that have updated those are the ones that do direct remasters, like one of my favorites, Bionic Commando.
Well, this is its own game. There is no other Mercenary Kings.
There was one that came out in 2014.
Yeah, this is that same game.
Yeah,
that's 2014. That's not. We're not going into like the 90s or the early 2000s. Or
well, yeah. But what
80s.
I'm saying is, with this new version, you can't expect. Well, I mean, you could, but it's not completely out of the ordinary for them to have left the game the same way. So these same beefs you have with this are the same beefs you had with the 2014 version.
Well, then consider this a review of both.
No, you can't. You can't do that. You can't say the game sucked back then. The game sucked now. That's not how it works.
Well, this is a fresh drop on the Switch, so I'm playing it as if it's a brand new game, right? I've never experienced this franchise before. I'm not judging it based on other games in its sort of lineage. I'm judging it by this particular game. This is my first iteration into Mercenary Kings, and there are some gameplay elements that sort of don't feel right. They're not functionally correct. You want to shoot diagonally. You want to be able, I mean, there are plenty of other games where you get full 360 range of aiming control. Yeah. This doesn't have that. I'm not expecting something like that, but at the very least, like diagonal control or diagonal shooting is kind of a must for these types of games. Not only that, but enemies will respawn like that in that very old school bothersome way back in like the 80s styles of games where as soon as you move the screen off and then you move back,
he's right there.
They respawn. Yeah, the enemies will just reappear. The same enemy that you just killed, you just move your screen over just a little bit and a little bit back, boom, they're back again.
I mean, if you're telling me that this is in a lineage or in a likeness of Metal Slug or Contra or whatever, in those games you can shoot diagonal. So I mean, I'm kind of expecting you to at least give me that
also
in the 2014 version or a relaunch, if you will, of this game. Go ahead, Pete.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, kind of to your point. Then I realized I don't want to step on your point real quick because that is very valid. But also, if it is directly in the spirit of those games were designed primarily as arcade games to suck quarters out of your pocket. So they're not gonna do anything that's gonna specifically facilitate like functional gameplay. So it's gonna be quote unquote more challenging for you not to be able to shoot diagonally. And if you remember in Metal Slug, it was hard as balls to shoot accurately diagonally.
It was.
You could shoot diagonally all day. Your character's still running, so it's like you're shooting a guy there who's like firing bullets at your face, and you can't stop running into his bullet stream.
You're shooting a diagonal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that ties into another problem with this game is that this game which is in the style of these other amazing games, what those other games are doing is they're arcadey, right? They're hard for the sake of being hard because there's only like a handful of levels. There's only like 5 to 10 levels that you're going to go through, but each level is like incredibly detailed and incredibly animated and it's very handcrafted and intricate. This one has you playing the same jungle environment 10 times, 10 separate missions, because it's like they took sort of like a Monster Hunter or like a very like MMO style stance on quest system where you're doing quest after quest as a grind in order to progress through this game. It's like it's such a nonsensical grind for this when this game is playing homage to a bunch of other games where you can beat those games in an hour, 2 hours. Tops, you can beat those games.
Yeah, but those
whereas this one is you have to play this game for 20 hours, 30 hours, 50 hours in order to actually beat it, to get to the last set of missions.
And there's a lot of backtracking and such.
That ties into the missions themselves. They're in sort of this open side-scrolling environment. It's fairly contained, but it is sort of you're not moving from left to right until you reach the end point on the right. It depends on the mission you're doing. You're sort of dropped sometimes at the center of the map, and you kind of know if you look at the minimap where there's some key points where you might be able to complete your mission on, and other places it doesn't have that. So you kind of have to explore, but it's always the same map. It's always the same environment. It changes up every now and then, but it's just monotonous. So I'm going to give this a complete thumbs down. But it's also very unfortunate because there was a lot of love that you could tell was poured into this game. But as I said earlier, they took notes on all the bad aspects and incorporated that into this game and didn't really modernize it in all the good ways that it should have been modernized.
Well, it's a daggone shame that they didn't do it right because, I mean, I can tell you turned JM right off.
I mean, we got to get you some better games, man, because, I mean, it's been a while since I just said that you like the game. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what we need to do to get you some better games review that you can say, you know what, this game's amazing, go get it. I think the last time I heard you say that was probably Zelda. It was probably the last game I heard you say, this game is amazing, get it yesterday.
Just last week, I recommended Pyre.
This is true. That was way overshadowed by the Black Panther.
It really was.
You did recommend Pyre.
Yes, you did. You referenced it in the Black Panther review.
I remember you gushed all over Pyre. I remember that flashing back now. It got a little inappropriate.
Yeah, Pyre. This
wipe
is
down
not.
that seat.
So and that ties into this game. It's $20. It's available on all the platforms. Let me just.
So it's available on Steam, on PC, on Linux.
Yeah.
Available
so
on
Steam,
Engage,
PlayStation 4,
get your Virtual Boy.
Vita, Xbox One, and it just released on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, did you say Vita? Like, that's still around?
Vita, yeah, the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
Word, it's still around. All right.
It's on that. But avoid it in all instances because it's $20 on all of these platforms, and it's not worth that because it's just a waste of your time. Even though it has multiplayer, which is an area where this game is better at, it's still a waste of your time. Now it's a waste of your friend's time as well.
That is unfortunate, man. But you know what?
Harsh words.
All right, thank you, Johnny. I'm going to kick it over myself because, dude, I got to check out a surprisingly hilarious movie called